Here we go! Yeah, the window was a stick and a fence. Built away with all our hopes and dreams. Little shadowy eyes, just a look and a choice. All the silence the endurance screams.
Watch this in a minute.
Face the dawn with a pistol drawn. Every part is burning in our soul. In the fury it has. Welcome to Hops Metal Show Live with the Native Howl. So, guys, I'm going to turn it over to you to do your introductions. I'm Wes. Hops with us. Gentlemen, tell us who you are and a little bit about the band.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm Chandler. We're the Native Howl from just north of Detroit, Michigan, a little place called Leonard.
Shan plays bass. I'm Alex Holycross, and I play guitar.
I'm Zach. I play drums.
And Hop and I got to see you guys on the very first show of the tour with Blacktop Mojo and Clutch. And hey, being very transparent, I've been a fan of Blacktop for a number of years, and I didn't know who Clutch was, didn't know who you guys were. And that's not a knock to either of you, just didn't know. I live a sheltered life. I don't get out much. Hop lets me hang out with him every now and then. But holy shit, you guys put on an incredible show, and it was one of the coolest experiences. It was different than I ever imagined seeing in a Blacktop show. But tell us how you guys got going and a little bit about how you really evolved into the Thrashgrass idea.
Well, we've all known each other since we were all in high school, and I'm including our banjo player Jake, who's not here today. So it's kind of like it's a family operation for certain, and we all kind of, especially the three of us, started out and still are like metal heads and metal players, right? But the thing that changed it when we discovered bluegrass, and kind of I went to a bluegrass festival in northern Michigan called Wheatland. Kind of had this like epiphanic moment where you see these guys playing blazing fast on these different instruments, different instrumentation, but they're playing fast, precise, aggressively, and they're singing songs about death, destruction, and doom. And I'm like, man, this doesn't sound too much different than what we've kind of grown up to, know and love and play. And you see all the parallels, and then we just thought, hey, how about we try and do these things at the same time? Let's do them simultaneously. And that's where the song Thunderhead came from. And that was the song Thunderhead was really like the birth of the thrashgrass genre from our previous sounds that we have been trying out, and it just stuck. We loved it. We just got lucky enough where we loved it, as well as people who saw us live and our online videos. It seemed to strike a chord with people, or people like to say it's like it was something they didn't know they needed. That always feels good.
Yeah. I can second that notion, because it was absolutely something. Because had I not heard you guys, and you would have said bluegrass, and I just said, nah, not it. I'm not banjo music. I'm not paddling faster. Let's get on out of here. With the exception of Zach's Pride and Glory, where Zach does the banjo at the beginning of the Pride and Glory album. I like that pretty good. But outside of that, nah, not for me.
That song is where that song is the reason why I got my first banjo when I was 14 or 15, was getting that Pride and Glory record. We all loved that record, loved it growing up. And that song right there is like got me my first banjo, which became, I soon very, very quickly realized I wasn't smart enough to play the banjo. And that got passed off to Jake, Jake Sawicki, our banjo player, who in turn, as it turns out, was smart enough to learn the banjo. And it sort of just came from there. That's funny that you bring up that song though, because that's how the banjo came into our lives, at least at first.
Well, so when Hop and I saw Black Label the first time, it was on their first album, the Sonic Group. Matter of fact, it was right after they had to do the re-release of it because they got into trouble from the whiskey or bourbon company or whatever. And it was the first time we heard No More Tears, the 2000 version. And they opened with Losing Your Mind, but there was no banjo when they opened live. And holy crap, I mean, knock your socks off.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of that. It looks so good. I'm a little jealous you got to see them play that.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
very
cool.
jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hop, why don't you jump in so I don't take the show over?
Well, I was going to, I guess with me and Wes is from our area, bluegrass is huge around here anyway. So, you know, we're kind of forced to listen to bluegrass, but never thought of putting it all together. And that's why I'm like, Wes, we've been metalheads forever. And then when you put it together, it was just, I listened to your album again yesterday and I'm like, this is amazing. Just, it's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
But I guess you had opened up with Mercy, and I know I talked to you a little bit at the show. How did y'all get involved with Lizzie Hale?
We took place we competed. We applied to compete and made it through the selection process to do a show that Sumerian Records, our record label, put on in 2021 called 21 called No Cover, where we inexplicably in the middle of COVID like flew out to it felt crazy getting in a metal tube and flying out to Los Angeles, the belly of the beast, to film this show. And I mean that was a hell of a journey.
Yeah, it was a good for the soul, we'll say, when you're all cooped up. You guys remember during that time we felt alive for the first time in a year or two doing that.
And speaking of being cooped up, among the judges was our hometown legend and all of our dads, all of your dads, everybody's dad's favorite band and singer songwriter Alice Cooper, and Lizzie Hale, who is like a vocal hero of mine since I was in college, since I heard I Missed the Misery for the first time. And she was a judge, one of the 5 judges on the show as well. And we obviously held her in high reverence, and she really took a liking to us, and we were lucky enough to form a really good friendship with her. And we just threw out a limb, or rather on a lark, we just threw out a line and said, hey, you know what would be awesome? Why don't we try and see if we can get Lizzie Hale to sing on Mercy? And she was kind and gracious enough to do it, and she did it. And she was kind and gracious enough to be in the video. So it was just another one of the just a beautiful magic moments that came out of that No Cover competition that we were so lucky to take part in.
Yeah, it was funny too. She would be tracking her parts and send us a photo or a video like, hey, I'm at this arena, performing tonight, and she'd be tracking Mercy, from an arena. It was so cool.
In the green room.
In the green room with
a microphone. It's like attached to her laptop, and our wonderful producer Jay Rustin from Los Angeles. He was in communique with her, and she just nailed it. She nailed it. And her vocal timbre, is like perfect to match like the grit that becomes synonymous with our band. So it was a match made in heaven, and beyond that, just a dream come true for us.
Yeah, she y'all's voices mix well together in that song, I thought.
Yeah, she's her grit and her. I mean, I remember. I swear to God, I remember like this crystallizing moment when I was in music school. Chan and I both went to Oakland University and got our music degrees, and I remember driving around to school or in school thinking, what am I doing in classical music school? I don't belong here, blah, blah, blah. And I'm listening to the radio, and I'm listening to the 101.1 The Riff, the local Detroit rock station, and I heard that I Missed the Misery by Hailstorm, and I heard her voice kick in for the first time, And I was like, wow, whoever this woman is, she's like singing exactly how I want to sing. It was, wild how, yeah. And then from there, just how well our voices blended together. We just got really blessed and lucky that she would grace us with her presence on that track, which means so much to all of us.
So I don't know if you guys remember this. When we talked with you after the show, Hop had mentioned, and again, he wasn't tracking. I think I had to remind him that we were going to the show that night, and he had on the channel, he had done a review of Mercy the night before that you had released, right, Hop?
Yeah. I remember you guys telling me that, and I was like, what? I mean, what
That
a
was
small
crazy.
world. I went I YouTubed it that night. I was like, no shit, these guys weren't, these guys weren't BSing. We looked at the date, it was the night before. I'm like, well, how about that? What a coinky dinky,
Yeah, Alex, you were giving him shit, saying you better not have blasted me over this song. And Hop's like, nah, man, I was good.
I would have liked you so much better, even if you just completely just trashed us. Like, man, this doesn't work. This is shit. I would have been like, respect for keeping the peace.
Here's a sticker.
Here's a sticker.
Well, so I'm going to back up. Well, I guess I'm going to try to track with some of the questions that Hop put together. One I'm going to ask you, because I'm not as smart as Hop, right, is the opening song that we saw you guys play. It had me from the beginning, and quite frankly, the live version is just so much thicker than anything I've been able to find on YouTube or wherever. And that's Harvester of Constant Sorrow. I mean, it was knock you back in your seats power when we saw you play it live. How did you decide to make that mix from the old brother we're out there mess that is George Clooney?
Well, we love a good challenge, and it was like, and I think I sometimes I say it live, like it's sort of like for the thrash grass sound, it's sort of like the perfect thesis statement for us. It's like, here is one of our favorite bluegrass songs of all time, "Man of Constant Sorrow," whether it be the Ralph Stanley version, or like whatever version it is, and then let's take, then we're thinking all of our, like, I'd say like our biggest combined influence of the whole band of all four members is got to be like Metallica and Pantera, right? Like, and maybe Black Sabbath too. Like, and I remember I was just like I was just on like a little jog going through the woods, and I was thinking like, man, what would be something? I was just ironically trying to think of a no-brainer, and I just thought of Man of Constant Sorrow, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good one. That would work. And then I looked down, and I saw my Metallica ring, and I was like, yeah, what other songs have the word sorrow in it? And then I was like, oh yeah. And then it just came from it came from like the titles of both the songs. I'm like, wow, that's perfect. And then what followed was like 6 months of like intense like arrangement on all our parts, going in the studio and figuring out what is the best part of each song, how can we make this flow, and also throw in a couple Metallica Easter eggs that we love when people are able to pick them out. There's 3 in total, I think, besides the actual like Harvester. It's Harvester of Sorrow itself, but yeah, it was just the word sorrow and both those titles coming together, and then just a really intense like arranging period in the studio of trying to pick and choose which would be the best sections for each that would also represent us, and it's so much thicker live, because we've since dialed in our vocals a lot, our vocal arrangements back then were far too spread out, and we've got Zach on the drums now. He wasn't on the studio version, and on the live version now we've got the power with Zach that we just didn't have. We didn't have prior to Zach, and all that, and just growing as musicians and singers, especially. It just makes that live version really pop. And it's fun as hell. We just love seeing the smiles out in the crowd.
Yeah.
Right? When people, you see the smile and Buddy's nudging their buddy, they're like, hey, and you always know that's a good sign. Either that or you get pelted with a Heineken bottle. One of the two.
Yeah, I know when y'all done it, I looked at Wes and I'm like, holy shit, they put these two songs together. That's freaking awesome.
Thanks. Glad you guys liked it. I remember talking with you guys about it that night too.
Yeah. So even the video, you've got some Easter eggs in that too, because I saw the reference and kind of the remake, if you will, of the George Clooney from the movie. And then I see some Metallica video spoofs in there too. It's really cool to see.
It was essentially like us. We tried to combine like the main shot that we tried to recreate from the Oh Brother Where Art Thou movie was when they were singing into a tin can, and actually our banjo player Jake built that tin can microphone, shot in the front room of our recording studio in front of a wood wall, and meticulously and masterfully directed and shot by our good friend and brother Joe Horsch. And then that element combined with us, we were trying to take the Metallica 1 video and did it in blue light, shot it from the side, did like shot for shot recreations all the way down to like different facial hair and we had our by the way, the funniest thing too is our fog machine ran out of haze when we were shooting that video. And you see, like, we had a pretty good amount of hanging haze in that, and it was in like my pole barn down there behind the studio, because we're all out in the middle of the sticks out here, and in the pole barn, our hazer ran out. We were like, damn, we're out of fog juice. And our old tour manager, our buddy Matt Lindbergh, he's like, I think I can take care of that. And he had his vape, and he was right. If you watch the video, right under the shot, he's like, you'll just see like a huge puff of smoke come up, and that was actually Maddie. I think we credit him in the video as like fog and haze coordinator, Matt Lindbergh. So shout out to Maddie for being our fog machine for that video.
It's what friends are for, man.
True.
What else you got?
Yeah. I know you talked a little bit about y'all are Zakk Wylde fans. What are some of y'all's influences?
Van Halen. I fucking love Van Halen. But I mean, yeah, Pantera, Megadeth. I love Kiss. Kind of all over, but it tends to lean a lot into rock and metal. And I mean, like we had talked about it semi-previously, but like a lot of Motown stuff's really cool. It's kind of all over, man. But mainly rock and metal.
Yeah, I think the bands as a whole, the big ones Alex kind of touched on, but Metallica, Pantera, Sabbath, the Steel Drivers actually on the bluegrass side were a big influence. But those are the biggies there. Black Label actually was pretty big influence for us.
Yeah, as far as just like listening to, that was why it was so crazy when we got the Black Label tour, because it's like you can tour with your biggest band in the world, like, and Zakk Wylde is so like magnanimously successful, but like when we got the news of the Black Label Society tour, it was like, wow, we're not only touring with an established band, we're touring with a band that we actually have listened to since like we were kids, just for fun, like just always had them on loop in high school. So yeah, just a lot of like thrash influences all together. And then I'm not as big on the Motown stuff, but I came from like when I was really young, country, like Hank Williams Sr., a little bit of Bo Cephas Jr. too, but more Hank Williams Sr., Travis Tritt, Alan Jackson, and then like later my bluegrass revival kind of came through the Steel Drivers. Chris Stapleton's
I was going to say Chris Stapleton,
which they are just, the Steel Drivers are freaking phenomenal. They're amazing. But yeah, kind of like everybody has their own influences, but we definitely have the center of the Venn diagram, which is like a Metallica, Pantera, Sabbath. Yeah, that about covers it.
Yeah.
Some grunge too. Like I love Tool. We all have Soundgarden. We all love Alice in Chains. You know, like it's a mixed bag. But as far as thrash and bluegrass goes, Metallica, Pantera, and bluegrass, the Steel Drivers for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the most common reaction you guys see when you hit the stage and it's folks that aren't familiar with you when you're touring and you see those guys for the first time. Had we been close enough, we were in the balcony and so on. But if you'd have seen us, what's the most common facial expression you guys see?
Well, I would say disgust, abhorrence, a lot of stinky faces. You smell fecal matter in the air from people just,
Lots of yawning.
I'm kidding. It's.
I was gonna say I didn't see that. But.
No, it's a lot of people smiling. Actually, I think
The smile,
the surprise of kind of wide-eyed. You know, a lot of people are just they're not sure what to expect.
Or it does kind of start from like what the hell's going on to like, oh, well, yeah, you know, like hopefully that's like we love the moment, like the turn when we get to turn.
Yeah.
Even Alice Cooper, when we were on I'll send you guys a link, but it's hilarious. He did a video, he did like a reaction or whatever to us after No Cover. And he talked about when we came up on stage for the first time and on the first round of the competition, and he sees the banjo and he was like, oh God, like here's what the hell am I in for? Here we go. And it's like, it's the exact same reaction that I would probably have if if we saw a band with like, you know, drums and electric bass and like a acoustic guitar and then a banjo come on. You're like, oh my God, what kind of misery are we in for the next, you know, half hour? And, you know, but then Cooper said he really dug it. So it's, we love seeing the flip. The smiles in the audience is the best thing. When it goes from kind of like intrigue or like, ugh, to smiling is the best reaction.
Especially to get a reaction like that from, you know, the king of shock himself, Alice Cooper. I mean, that's got to be an honor.
Definitely, man.
Yeah, no question. Nothing but an honor. And he was, by the way, the rumors are all true. He's the sweetest guy in the world, like just cool as hell. Mm-hmm. Always, every time we've talked to him, super sweet.
That's cool.
So Chandler, I thought you heard the guy that was behind us when we were at the National. He griped and bitched through the whole show. In Detroit, there's this. Dude, you don't like yourself. Why did you even leave your house today?
What was he saying?
He was just he had nothing positive to say about banjo, and he was just like he was.
So he was
or some shit like that. He was talking about he knew Detroit, and I'm what?
See, it's funny. We get a kick out of it almost. We're like, whatever, man. Like we do what we do. We hope you dig it, but if you don't, we could easily just laugh it off.
I mean, like we became so immune to that. I mean, you remember like when the first Thunderhead video went viral? I mean, then this was back in the days of the old West, like the Wild West, when Facebook was uncensored, like 2016, late 2016, early 2017, before Zuckerberg brought down the ban hammer and like before they like really tightened the screws in on everybody. You could say what I mean, and when I say you could say whatever you want, like they did say whatever they wanted. They did. I mean, like death threats. Like this isn't metal. I hope you guys die in a fire. I hope you die in a car fire. I hope your family dies. Like, so at first you're like, you know, I'm like, man, I just wanted people to hear the tune. I thought you'd like it, you know, and then I would just, but then we go on and respond and be like, well, hey, you know. It's not you know, nothing's for everybody. No rivers too so long don't contain a bend, and you know whatever. You just get after so many like death threats or like ill wishes on your family. You're like, now we get a kick out. We actually have like a channel in our communication thing that we use for the band, like just like a little channel. It's just like mean comments, and when we find a juicy one, we'll like drop it in there, and we're like, that's a new one. You know?
Yeah. Hey, for what it's worth, I've come to terms with even bad comments help boost the reach, right? So bring it on, guys. Bitch all you want. We'll take the reach.
Yeah, bump that algorithm.
You can't take yourself too serious no matter what you're doing in life. Like you're passionate about it. If your heart's in it, you do it for yourself, then you can't let others hurt you, really.
No, oh, yeah, I know with having this channel, man, it blows my mind, the keyboard warriors out there. I mean, they'll just say anything. And if you take it to heart, man, it'll beat you up pretty bad.
And most of the time it's true. Like it's usually not Einstein saying that stuff. It's usually people that they're probably not super happy. Like I've hated stuff I've seen before, but I've never been like, I hope you die, you son of a gun. You know, like
exactly. It's not, these guys aren't going to be splitting the atom anytime soon, like, you know. But then again, we're in a band with a banjo, so I guess we aren't either. Call a spade a spade, but still, I think like not being happy with yourself, you know, like. Yeah. I could imagine like going online and not what it would take, the vitriol that I would really have to hate something to go online and just say I hate you, I hate your family. Like what I'm trying to think of who gives a shit about anything. Like that much. It's like fuck it. Yeah. Like okay, you know.
Wow. So on a more serious note, one of the questions, Hop, I'm going to jump on your albums question. You guys have 5 albums. What kind of lessons? You've alluded to it a little bit about the vocal styles and so on. What are some of the best lessons you've learned in the studios and how you put the songs together?
That's a great question.
Well, it's interesting because like we were like self-recorded, self-produced up until this last record, and we learned so much in the recording process with Jay Rustin, and just the opportunity to get to record at Studio 606 on the legendary Sound City Neve board was just like a dream come true. And Jay was such a mensch and a good guy and such an accomplished producer and mixer. We learned a lot from him, and also we went into, I think we matured a lot in the songwriting process in the past like 5 years, where you really look at a song and you say, what are we, just the thought of what are we trying to get across? What thematic elements, what emotion, what information are we trying to convey to the listener that they can interpret to their own, you know, at their own leisure, to their own liking. But what are we trying to get across, and how concisely can we get that across? Essentially separating the grizzle and the fat from what's really necessary on the steak, you know?
Yeah, I think that combined with a big thing, this is probably a life lesson as well, and just hoping to gain wisdom with some age. And that's in that being open to each other's ideas, but at the same time being honest with each other and always hearing each other's ideas out, but being honest as well, if you like it or not. And it's a democracy, you know? So we kind of, if somebody feels really strongly about an idea, we'll usually go with that idea, but also be open to communication. That's the key, man, is communicating like any good relationship. And that's being honest too. So if you don't like something and you feel pretty serious about that, then also voicing that opinion. That's helped a lot.
And figuring out how, communicating, like how to say it too. Like I just think about how I would like talk to other music. Well, first off, like you see how other bands talk to each other, and it just like, not all bands, but like a lot of bands on the road, or even you see videos of them in the studio, and they're like, the guy will play a lick, and then the bassist or the guitarist will play like, and the bassist will be like, no, that was totally wrong. You're doing that in the wrong key. And it's like, well, listen, like, do you think there was any more is there any way we could introduce some diplomacy? Like, you know, could we be diplomatic? Could you say that nicely? Like, could you say like, hey, that was a great take, man, but
do it again.
Could you try it again? Maybe try throwing in the C sharp instead, or you know, like, there's a way to talk to people, and you just see the way that bands, like how like I used to communicate, and then forget about these other bands that you hear talking to each other like they hate each other, and it's like, we're brothers, you know, and we trust each other musically, like Chan was saying. It's just trusting each other and just letting everybody have, like, it's an even 4-way split in the music, you know. We all have the same goal. There's no saboteurs here. Like, we all just want to create the best songs that we can, and everybody has their own musical background and skills and strengths and knowledge, and you know, coming together and finding a group of dudes that you can trust completely with that it's like immeasurably, like,
hard to find.
Yeah, it's impossible. We're so lucky, you know.
Yeah, Hop, that response right there is why I love doing these, because so much, guys, I work primarily in leadership, workplace communication space, and the case I make all the time is being a band. Music's fun, but you've got a job. It's your job. It's what you do for a living, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you've got to treat it as seriously. Your band is your business.
Yes.
And what you just said is golden. In that, my wife and I talk all the time about, hey, it's not do unto others like we want them to do unto us, because she and I wouldn't be married. It's how can I communicate with that person like they need me to? How do I like what they need, not what I need?
Right.
That's good. That's really good insight too. Just down to like learning, like when we record ourselves in our own studio here, and like we've learned like everybody has their own idiosyncrasies with like even down to like being in the booth singing vocals. Like some of us are like go machine gun, let's hurry up, get on it, and then like I need to take a second between takes. I need to and like process and think. Like everybody has their own idiosyncrasies and what they like in communication. That's good insight. Like knowing how everybody needs to be communicated to is a huge thing too. I'd never even thought about that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After the recording's done, I'll toss an idea to you guys and we'll go from there. Hop, jump on another question.
Yeah. I looked it up. Y'all are from what, like about an hour from Detroit?
Yeah, just under. Yep, north of Detroit.
We call it the sticks of Detroit. It's like the forest north of Detroit.
Yeah, when y'all talk about the sticks, it made me think about me and Wes interviewed the guitarist from Jackal, and he was talking about when they went out to California to record their first album. They had them go get, what was it, 3 chickens and a bale of hay. And they said Jeff said finding chickens in California they said they had a hell of a time. They ended up bringing back a guinea. But anyway.
And it's shit all over the studio.
Bring back.
I thought you were going to say they ripped down a tree with that chainsaw or something.
What they bring back?
What did they bring
So they
back?
brought back a pig?
A guinea
A
pig?
guinea pig.
No, guineas. They're like chickens. They're birds, but guineas.
Yeah. Those are great. Yeah. Those are great.
Sorry, I've been watching too much Sopranos.
Well, he actually said that the chickens shit all over the piano that Axel played in November Rain.
Whoa! They were using that for the video, or? God, I gotta eat something. I'm working up that appetite, maybe.
Did they kill the chickens with the chainsaw?
No, the label had a lot of cleaning up fees to take care of after that.
Can I tell you something funny? I think it's funny. The guys think it's funny. So like we played a show with Jackal. And this is nothing against Jack. We played a show with them in Joliet, Illinois a couple years ago. And then the weekend after, we went to do like a writer's retreat at our banjo players place in northern Michigan. And we were, like staying up late and stuff. And I had this one of those like dreams where you wake up, and then you fall back asleep for like a half hour, and you're just in like this mescaline fueled, like DMT trip fury, and I had this dream that I was being dragged through the water on a jet ski, like with my mouth open, holding on for dear life with one arm. And I just kept looking up, and I just kept and who was driving the jets, or the Wave Runner, I guess. Who was flooring the Wave Runner was Jesse James Dupree of Jack. And I was like, and getting what? And then like I look up, and he just turned around, and what's the noise he make? He goes, like he goes, pow! Like he would just do that. He was driving the jet ski, and then I would go, and then I woke up. I'm like, I think I gotta back off the melatonin or something, man.
Yeah, we're supposed to meet them guys week after next. I might have to mention that to Jesse.
That'll be a fun one.
Tell him he rides a mean jet ski in my dreamscape.
And hey, he's probably the one guy I can picture from that whole scene that would be driving the jet ski that way.
Oh,
exactly.
He was standing up like on the Wave Runner, just don't turn.
In the jean jacket out on the water.
He was. I'm surprised the chainsaw wasn't ripping with one hand, like
Yeah.
cutting the water with it, like sawing
You're
through
gonna cut the rope.
cut my arm off.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, I guess back to the Detroit scene was
Yeah.
Detroit. It gets a lot of bands talk about it being such a rocking scene. Is it like what they all say? Because I know Kiss said really Detroit embraced them before anybody. You know, Alice Cooper, he considers himself from Detroit, and even like Kid Rock and even Eminem. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
So much, man. Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, like, you know, since we're touring nationally now more than anything, so we're not as in that specific scene as we once were. So I would say back in the early days we would frequent it, and it was great, you know, for the most part it was good. Obviously what we were doing was out there, but we gained quite a following locally and people responded well to it. Detroit's always had a pretty good metal scene.
Yeah.
So that's always been great. And
We were playing shows in Detroit when we were a little young. Like we were going,
yeah.
we all cut our teeth down there, like 15 years old, going, and I would like find a cigarette to look 18, you know, so that they were like getting into venues, being like, come on, we're just gonna play a show, and then just kind of, you know, greasing the guy at the back door. We play venue. We just 15, 16 years old, just playing bars and venues in Detroit every weekend, Detroit or Mount Clemens or wherever. Both of our bands, Zach and Chan's band, Ancient Chaos, and my first band, Clean as Dirt, we were playing together when we were like 15, 16 years old, you know. So,
and it's a blue collar city, you know, big blue collar city. So people are great around Detroit, man. You know, I love Michigan, and I think people love music here. The city is known for it, and so many great musicians have come from here. So people love music. They support the bands. They come out to see bands play, and they're good people for the most part. You know, it's not like it's got its own vibe. You know, like it's Midwest, known for that. So I feel grateful to be from here.
yeah, we're kind of, I guess our area of the music scene's blue collar, but I mean we're big fans of the band Kicks, which they just retired, but they were a huge blue collar. I would consider them a blue collar, you know, oriented band, and you know the fans are always awesome, and everybody that you meet at shows are really cool, and
yeah, it shows, man. It shows. It really does.
So, guys, you tour frequently. I think you've had at least 3 or 4 tours, including Shipwreck, since we saw you guys late last March, or maybe it was May. I don't remember exactly when it was we saw you. Where will we get to see you next, and what do you have out on the horizon?
Well, Zach, you want to take that one?
Yeah, we are hitting the road again June 5th, doing a headlining tour with
Tejan Street Corner Thieves.
Yep. So yeah, we're gonna be out for how long is that? Like a 3-weeker?
It's a 3-week run. Yeah,
Yep.
We're doing East Coast down south, all the way west as far as Iowa or so, and back up. So first headlining run in 2 years or so. So we got some plans, my friend. So come out and see us, please.
Yeah.
not announced yet, by the way.
Yeah, not announced.
Announcing March.
First here.
Announcing March 12th.
All right, cool.
You're getting the exclusive. You're gonna have to clip this and cut it out, or we're gonna get quite litigious. But no, kidding. But seriously, we announced March 12th. Yeah, finally we're doing a headlining tour, supporting our finally supporting our new record, Sons of Destruction. So we're super stoked to get to headline again. As awesome as it's been, like opening, like what an honor it's been to open up for all these great like bands that we respect and hold in like high reverence. Like it's going to be awesome to get to not have to adhere to as tight of a schedule. You know what I'm saying? We get to lay down the law, you know,
and play. This is the first time people will be able to see us play a lengthy set in a few years. I mean, besides a few one-off shows, this will be the first full tour where we're playing an hour plus every night. So that's exciting.
I'll say that will be exciting because we just got a little sample of it.
Yeah.
Enough to tease us.
Oh, we'll have some tricks in the bag. We'll show you. Yeah.
And also we have a festival announced, our favorite festival of the year, Summer Bash in Indiana, put on by our friends Brandon Perkins and the Perkins family and Sam Jackson. These are dear friends of ours. Summer Bash, Indiana. That is July 12th, Saturday, I believe. Saturday, July 12th, I believe. We're headlining. We're closing that festival out, and that's our favorite festival of the year. So looking forward to that as well.
Very cool. Guys, I know you're on time limit, so I'm going to say, is there anything you want to share, wrap up with, make sure people know that Hops Metal Show and the followers can get out there for you?
Tour would be the big one. Please go and consider buying our new record. We're so proud of it. Sons of Destruction. It's still pretty new. We're going to have vinyl coming up very soon, so keep an eye out for that on our website to get the new vinyl record coming out for the first time pressed. And keep your eyes out for tickets for this tour. Please come out and see us, see what we do live. It's a different experience. We come heavy, man.
It's a fantastic experience, right, Hop?
It is. Yeah, it's unreal.
No. Guys, anything else you want to ask before we end the recording, Hop?
No, I guess that covered everything.
Okay. Hang tight just a second.
I'm excited to get to see y'all again.
Yeah, especially as headliners. So we'll make sure. I really appreciate hearing it's on the East Coast. I'm wanting to ask questions about where, but we'll save that for March 12th.
That sounds good. Thank you guys so much for having us. It's good to talk to you again, albeit not in person. But we really appreciate you having us, and maybe we'll come back on after the tour.
Shoot, yeah. Guys, hang tight just a second, and I'll close this out and give you some details afterward.
Thanks, boys.
Hop metal.